All right, so let me just share this really quick for you guys. Share screen. Okay, can you see it?
Yes.
Yes, okay, yeah, I muted everyone and then I asked you a question, which really present. Okay, can you still see it? No. Okay. Could you see that? Could you still see that? No. Okay, that's okay. I'll do it like this. It's not a big deal. It's my first presentation through Google Drive. So first started wanting to just do like some announcements. So I know a lot of us do the coach. Hold on one second. As to start. Oh, there, Jamie. I'm sorry. I think I stopped your video for a second. I was trying to mute you, but we're good now. So okay. So taxes. I wanted to go over this with you because it's tax season. So Beachbody will give you a 1099 form if you've made over $600 in the previous year. So if you haven't, you can disregard this for this year, but you want to listen because this is going to be really applicable for you for next year. So for those of you who don't know, 1099s are basically tax forms for people who are independent contractors, for people who make money that isn't taxed. And that's what we get when we're in Beachbody. And so the downfall of that is you get then taxed at the end of the year for what you make. The upside of that is you can write off pretty much anything that has anything to do with this business. But with that being said, throughout the year, it's really important that you keep track of all of your receipts or whatever you do to track things, that you have a spot that you put it. And so I'm pretty familiar with this because when I did moonlighting as a PA, this is what I got for those moonlighting shifts. And I have a tax accountant that I go through. And if you do your taxes on your own, this is probably going to be a little bit of a challenge. So again, do whatever works this year. It's going to be a little bit late, but know this for next year. So my tax accountant basically, I tell him I do this. It's my own business, independent contracting. And then what I do is I give him the square footage of my office and then give him basically all the information for our utility bills, our mortgage, everything. And he takes the percentage of our office and basically takes that same percentage out of the utilities and uses that as a write-off. I don't know if that makes sense to you guys or not. Does that make sense? Kind of. So basically the upside is you could get taxed a lot of money at the end, but with all of the write-offs, hopefully you won't. Now last year, I didn't owe any money. I don't know if I will this year or not. I wrote on here, Lindsay Gray, this is the YouTube video, but if you just YouTube Lindsay Gray and taxes, she is making, she's making six figures. And so she actually puts money away quarterly to offset what she might make in the end. So just know that as you start to make more money, you're going to want to be aware of this and start thinking about, if you don't have a tax accountant, maybe finding one. I'm happy. The person that I go through, I've never met him in person. He was actually the husband of a PA student that I had. And we were just talking one day and I've communicated with him always just over the phone and by email. And I've been happy with him if you need a request from anyone. But as far as write-offs go, so any gifts you buy, like for your team or your challenge groups, your workout clothes, your tennis shoes, your equipment, whether it's weights or clothes or resistance bands, your Beachbody On Demand membership, your Shakeology, office supplies you use, your cell phone, computer, really pretty much anything that you can think of that you use for this. And then if you start traveling and you do Summit or do any of the Super Saturdays and things like that, those are all things that you can write off. So just know that. Like I said, for a lot of you, it might not apply this year, but just keep that in the back of your mind next year. Success Club. Okay, so I'm not going to go into this for a lot, but the reason this is a must in your business, so if you're familiar with the vital process is getting customers on board, getting them into your challenge group, getting them results, making them raving fans of the product, and then turning them into coaches. And that's why Success Club is important, and that's why it's beneficial, because what you do is when you get Success Club points, it's not just points. What you're doing is you're getting them set up to be the biggest fans by drinking Shakeology and by doing the programs. And so for a long time when I was doing this, when I started out, I was like, I'm a goal-oriented person, right? So Lindsay would say, try to hit Success Club. And I'd be like, okay, I can do that. My goal is to hit Success Club. And I'd try as hard as I could, and I'd hit Success Club. And then I would be done. I'd be like, okay, hit it, done. Next month, okay, try to hit Success Club. And I do it again. But you know what I was doing for a long time? I was missing the vital piece. I was missing why it was important that we hit Success Club, because really it's not the numbers in Success Club that matter. It's getting people set up for success. And I don't know why it took me so long to figure this out. But I really struggled with getting discount coaches on board. And I think part of it was I would sell them a challenge pack, and then I would consider my job done because I got the points and I was happy there. And that is probably the worst thing that you can do. And so what I've since learned is, when you get them there, then you need to check in with them. Do they like the shakes or do they not? If they don't like the shakes, they don't like the shake. You're not going to make everyone a fan of the shakes. And that's not our job, but our job is to kind of follow through and help the people who like them and help them see the value in it. And the same with the workouts. I have tons of people who love the Beachbody programs and the workouts, and they just, have a hard time justifying the cost of the shakes every month. And maybe they'll end up becoming discount coaches in the future, maybe not. But don't let your job end with hitting Success Club, period, because you really want to walk that through, because that's where the vital process is, and that's where you're going to get long-term success and build your business on a foundation as opposed to sand. You don't want to just build your business on, you sign someone up and with a challenge pack, and then they like the shake, so you convince them to be a discount coach. And then all of a sudden you have 1 million discount coaches. That's good, and that's going to help your business, but that's not setting up a solid foundation. You want to have people who want to work this business too, and that's going to set up a solid foundation for your volume, which in turn is going to help you in the long run. So with that being said, January, I had announced this on my Facebook page. I included the entire downline on this, but Amanda got 15 points, which was great. So she said she had a lot of people interested in All Access. Sarah got 11 with like a little baby and sleeping just a few hours every night. So good job. Michelle hit 5. And then Alicia, Lindsay, Jamie, Robin, Jenny, Nicole, and Chelsea all got some Success Club points. So, gosh, this is finicky. I'm sorry. Just know that some months seem easier than others. I struggled a little bit in January. December seemed great. February for me is not starting out good. It's only the beginning of the week, but if you're not on here, don't feel discouraged. I've previously had some months where I've really, really struggled. Okay, Success Club trip. So a lot of you I just want to go talk about this really quick because a lot of people have asked me about this. So the way that Beachbody determines this is the Success Club trip, say for 2018, is determined by 2016. I want to make sure I'm saying that right. Determined by 2016. And they basically go through and you get invites by rank and then by how many Success Club points you had during that year. And if you were like a Success Club All-Star or a Success Club Legend, then, you get a preferential invite. So the way that it works is at the end of the year, your Success Club points, say for 2016, would go towards the 2017 trip. And then the 2018 trip, which is what the invites have more recently just started going out for, is for the 2018 trip. And so it's the Success Club points you earn in 2017 that is going to pay for that trip, if that makes sense. So if you're very new, there's a good chance that the trip might be full. Oh gosh, I don't want to end this meeting. That the trip might be full for 2018. But just know that what you're doing this year will help qualify you for 2019. For anyone who does get invited, it's in Riviera Maya, Mexico, and there's 2 different resorts. Dennis and I are staying at the Unico. I'm probably slaughtering that. I know Sarah is staying at Hard Rock Cafe, and then Sarah and I are both happen to be doing the Turtle Wave, and that's just, they have 2 different waves, and they're 2 different, one's like basically the first 4 days and the other one's the next 4 days. So just in case you want to know, you can reference this. One more announcement and then I'll get into the meat of the topic, but challenge group scripts. So again, these are typically posted in Goal Getters. What Lindsay did for her team is she kind of set up for everyone to divvy up scripts. Now, you can find it in there. If you're not, what I generally do is I start putting my team in my team page, and then once they're done with the university and I feel like maybe they're not overwhelmed, I'll usually put them into Lindsay's team page. And it's not to say that you can't go in there beforehand, but just know that's where it typically gets posted. You can always reach out to me or us and ask, and we can let you know if we've seen it. Also, I don't know why it took me a long time to figure this out, but in a group page, there is a little search icon in the right-hand side where you can search like February a ton of stuff will come out, but instead of trying to scroll through the entire news feed to find something, that's an option. Just be sure that you're reading it and you're making it your own. And some of the scripts I use like verbatim, because the people who write them, I'm like, oh my God, that's pretty much exactly what I would say. But make sure that you're reading them, because sometimes they'll reference specific things. And I know this because in the past I've got caught where then a challenger will like call me out. Oh, hey, can you, what did you mean when you said you use this app on your phone? And I'm like, no, I've never actually used that app on my phone. So just make sure you scroll through it before you copy it and paste it. And then, like I put on there, as a team, we lean on each other for scripts, but there might be times you have to develop your own. And it's probably been a little while since I talked about this, but I did create a team website that has some scripts on there. So I'll post that in Be Bold again. And that's another reference area that you can go to in addition to the Facebook group. And there's some free groups in there too with some scripts, which is always kind of a nice thing to be able to do. So today we're going to talk about, this is supposed to be pretty, so that you didn't see that. So I'm sorry that it's in this form, but time management. And, honestly, I like this topic because I feel like this is something that is a very strong strength of mine, but at the same time is something that I struggle with the most. And I think that it's something that most people struggle with the most. And for me, everything with this comes down to discipline. Your workouts, are you being disciplined? Can you get your workouts in the majority of the time? Eating healthy, like, are you disciplined with it, or is it really a struggle for you? For me, time management is like the one thing that every single day I have to work so mentally hard on to keep myself focused, that's the only way that I feel like I'm efficient with my time. So to begin, you guys have seen this a million times. There's actually 4 vital behaviors now. Speaking of time management, I opted not to create my own, which has the 4th vital behavior, and I stole this off of Google. So forever, they only had 3 vital behaviors, and then more recently, there was the 4th one. So I'm just going to talk about the 4th one. So the vital behaviors that you'll hear on every morning wake-up call is, this is what you have to do. Invite, be a proof the products work, and listen to personal development or read personal development, and recognize people. And so those are really important, that you're doing all of those things. But what it comes down to is those are only effective if you're doing daily activity. And I'm going to reference the activity tracker. And I'll kind of go into that later if you don't know what that is. But these vital behaviors are only effective, you can invite people. But if you only have 100 people in your network and you're not adding people to your network, you're going to run out of people to invite. So the inviting isn't going to be a vital behavior anymore. It's not going to benefit you. Be the proof the products work. And recently I heard this. You have to be proof that the products work, but more importantly, don't be proof that you use the product. If you're just being proof that you use the product, you're posting your shake, you're posting your workout, but you need to be proof the products work. You have to have a transformation, and it doesn't have to be like, you don't have to be a model to do this business, and you don't have to have 100-pound weight loss, but you have to share what the products are doing for you, whether it's an emotional transformation, a mental transformation, a physical transformation. And so what I do is this sounds probably silly, but I set goals. I'll be like, okay, I'm doing hammer and chisel for the next 2 weeks, and I really want to work on upper body strength. I want definition in my back when I take my before and after pictures. I want more upper body strength. Or I'll say, after I had Parker, I was like, okay, my abs, I'm targeting my abs. And then that's what I try to share with people. And those are just small goals that I have, and that's just me being me. But you really want to try to be, proof the products work. But again, the same thing. If you're posting that the products work, but you're not warming up your cold market, all that's going to happen is people are going to see you on Facebook, and they're going to be like, oh, there's Brie posting her pictures again, but they're not going to trust you. They're not going to feel like they want to join you. They're not going to warm up to you because they're your cold market. You haven't talked to them in 10 years, and they're probably not going to be the ones to reach out to you. Personal development, again, I'll say it over and over and over again. It's just something that you have to do. If you, again, an example, if you are reading like How to Win Friends and Influence People, but you're not making new friends on Facebook, well, you're not going to be able to actually apply personal development into the business. And then the last one is recognition. And that is, at the beginning, I was like, why did they add recognition as a vital behavior? This is dumb. I just didn't understand it. But what I get now is recognition doesn't have to be you blowing up Facebook with recognition. Recognition can be you just saying, hey, great job. You did an awesome job today in your challenge groups. Just giving people that little confidence boost and kind of believing in them before they believe in themselves. So what does this come down to? Doing the daily activity. And this is going to come down to Power Hour, which is in the university, and you're going to hear about this over and over again. But to me, it's this daily activity that is what's going to really propel your business forward. So how do you find time for it? I am going to get out of my share screen because I need to ask you guys some questions. I always have like a million things pulled up on my phone. And stop share. Okay. Raise your hand who tracks their activity right now. And if you don't, I promise I won't judge you. I won't yell at you. But does anyone use like an activity tracker, either Teamsy or an Excel, like Drive or something? Raise your hand if you do. Okay. So, Jenna, I can't hear you. What did you say?
I said I use paper in my binder.
Yeah, that works. I mean, that's honestly how I started. And what else did I want to ask? I totally just lost my thought process. I will get to it. So, there was something else I was totally going to ask with that. Now I can't even remember. So basically, when it comes down to time management, are you guys familiar with the activity tracker? Does anyone raise your hand if you're familiar with it? So basically it's just, I don't think I have it on my laptop, not on this computer. It's basically, this is what I started in the business, and this is what I attribute all of my success to, is every day. It was a Monday through Sunday. It was like you would add 2 people to your network. You would connect with 3 people. You would follow up with 2 people. You would invite 2 people. And then you would check when you did your workout, and you check when you drank your shake, and you check when you read your personal development. And so that, when I think of what you need to do to move forward, those are the activities I think of. I knew what I was going to ask. Time. When you guys, who here just sits down one time a day and works their business? Is there anyone who generally does that, or do most people do it in segments throughout the day? I know everyone's muted. How about I unmute you all and then we can talk? Does that sound good? I know there's probably an unmute all button and I don't know how to do it. Okay. Sarah, I'm going to start with you because you're in the corner.
I usually do 1 time a day where I do all of it.
Okay.
But it'll change when I go back to work.
Yeah. Robin, what do you do all at once?
At one time in the evening.
Okay.
I'm not able to do a whole lot from my phone during the workday. I travel for work too. So if it's phone calls, I can return a call while I'm driving, but typically it's at night.
Okay. Jenna, what do you normally do? I know you're
segments throughout the day. I've been doing most of my posts in the morning, and then I'll send out some messages, and then later I'll do something else. I'm not very organized.
You'll get there. I mean, honestly, well, I'm not very organized, but trust me, it's okay. You'll get better, but you'll still not be organized.
But I'm trying. In the morning when my daughter's happy, I'm going to do this. And then sometimes I do it good, and other times it's not so good. So,
yeah. Michelle, what do you normally do?
I wish I could say it was once a day, but it's probably more like 50.
Yeah.
1 or 2 minute increments.
Yeah.
I don't know. It varies from day to day. You know, I don't know that that's very realistic, though. At least for me, it's not at all. It needs to be in the morning and at night. I don't know. I just can't. I don't think I can sit for 1 hour and do everything that I do. So.
Yeah.
Get up a lot, especially if I'm on the go during the day at the kids' school or at work or.
Yeah. And Jamie, I know you're new. Have you probably have you even started? You probably haven't found what works for you yet.
Say that again, sorry.
Have you started even kind of doing business stuff yet, or?
Yeah, a little bit. I mean, and for me, it'll probably be segments throughout the day.
Yeah.
I sit behind a desk all day, so fortunately and unfortunately, I can check multiple times a day and do different things. So, and I like it that way. I don't know. I like it like that. So
Yeah.
I guess we'll see how it goes.
Yeah, and so the thing is, like, I feel like, you know, what I've done has changed throughout, you know, like, you know, even the past 2 years, what I've done has changed throughout the seasons of me being a coach. And that's the nice thing that's flexible about this. And so here is some advice that I'm going to give you guys. When I started and I would doing this, I would power hour at night after Bryson would go to bed. And I was fortunate, he would go to bed at like 7:30. And so I would usually power hour from 8 to 9. But what I would do is my messenger status would be green, the light would be green, it would be on, and I would start, so I'd be like, okay, I'm going to add 2 people in my network. Check it, done. I'm going to start new conversations. Well, I'd start one new conversation, and the person would message me back, right? Because everyone's on Facebook at night, and then they message me back, and I'm like, oh, I'm excited. I need to keep messaging them. And I message them back and back. And then I might message one more person, and then I went beyond my power hour. I'm like into a power hour and a half or 2 hours. And the whole time I've been having 2 conversations with 2 different people. And then I'm like, oh, I'm done. And then what that led to was disagreements with my husband because I was spending so much time on Beachbody and I wasn't actually doing anything. And at the end of the day, I was like, I remember Sarah and I having a phone call once, and she's like, I don't know why they call it power hour. No one can do this stuff in an hour, you know? And I was like, I know, this is crazy, you know? And so what I have learned is basically some tricks to prevent that from happening. And so I know a lot of people aren't morning people, if you are a morning person at all, or if you have an opportunity to send your new messages during the day. I even send new conversations to people at 4:30 in the morning sometimes, you guys. These people probably look at my messages and think, what the heck, like just randomly out of the blue, I haven't talked to her in 10 years. And she's like, hey, just thinking about you, how you doing, at 4 in the morning. But the benefit of doing it, your new conversations, not at night, is that people aren't on Facebook and they're not on Messenger and they're not going to respond right away. So I always look like I'm not on Facebook Messenger. I make my thing set so that it's off. So for those of you who really struggle with time management, Eat That Frog is a really good book. And so Eat That Frog talks about doing an activity that you kind of not dread doing, but something that you know you need to do first thing. And so for me, that's new conversations. For me, I have a hard time just out of the blue talking to someone who I haven't talked to in 10 years that I went to high school with and trying to make small talk to them. But I know that those new conversations are what's going to warm up your market and set you up for success down the road. And if you're not having these new conversations, you're going to do good at first because you're going to have a good warm market, but eventually that warm market is going to wear out. And what happens with this business is the activity that you're doing now or in a month or two there's no instant gratification. You're not going to see results right away. And so you can go and, be talking to your warm market for the first year, and then you might hit a roadblock. And then you're going to go through a really rough period because your it takes a while for your cold market to warm up. So that's why new conversations are important. But so this is what I do. I send out my new conversations and then I'm done. I don't talk to those people at all. If they respond back, I don't talk to them. And that sounds, at first I was like, well, I'm starting a conversation with them. It seems rude to not respond, but I literally will just get to them the next day. And so I will, if you use Teamzy basically tells you who to talk to. Teamzy will, hi Corey. Teamzy will give you a list of people that you go through and you see them and you just say, basically they put them alphabetically. So I will go through then in Facebook, I'll look at those people really quick. I'll scroll through. If I see within their first 5 posts, if I see something I can connect to them with, I will message them. If not, I say skip a week. And sometimes I'll skip a week for 52 weeks and I never end up connecting with these people. But you don't want to spend 30 minutes trying to find something that you have in common with this one person so you can make a connection. If it's that forced, it's probably not worth it, you know? And so you can come back to them. Maybe they posted something in the interim, but some people use Facebook just to share things or just to look at other people's stuff. They don't actually share their own activity on there. So that would be my suggestion for connecting with people. Connect with them, and then I follow up the next day. So, and then when you're connecting with people, I always had this thought that I had to connect it so that it would lead to something Beachbody. And it doesn't have to. It can be a simple connection and just them starting to most of the time people will say, hey, I've been seeing your posts, like your kids are cute, blah, blah, blah. They might not bring up Beachbody or workouts or exercise, and they might. If they don't, then I don't push it there. And if the conversation just ends, it ends. And I don't make it awkward. I don't push it towards, a sale or a challenge group or anything like that. But I know that our Facebook affinity is then closer because we've had a conversation. I know that they probably trust me more because I'm just being me. And sometimes it leads to something and sometimes it doesn't. So that is my recommendation as far as new conversations. So what I do right now is I work my business in segments. And I actually normally do it while I pump at work. I started bringing my laptop and I sit down and I have 20 minutes. And so, I'll sit down and I'll be like, okay, so every time you go to do your business, every time you look at your phone and you're going to do Beachbody or you're going to sit down at your computer, in your head, you need to have what you want to do. So I literally have to ask myself this every single time, you guys, because there's days that I'm like, oh my God, I spent all day Facebook scrolling and I didn't do anything. And it's okay to have those days every once in a while, but if you have those regularly, you're just going to get fed up because you're not going to go anywhere and you're going to spend all your time on Facebook and you're just going to get frustrated. But so for that 20 minutes, I'll say, okay, I'm sending out my 5 new conversations today and then I'm done. And then my next 20 minutes, I'll sit down and I'll say, you know what, I'm going to actually respond to all of my messages from yesterday that I never responded to. And when people respond back, I don't even open them. I mean, if it's if it's about an upcoming challenge group, or if it's about something that's more time sensitive, or someone who's thinking about signing on as coaching or something like that, that's different. I treat those conversations different. But those are a little bit more time sensitive to me. But if it's something where I'm just, reconnecting with someone, there's no urgency. There's nothing that you have to that needs to be said right away. So I won't even open those. I will literally leave them in my inbox. If I open them, what happens is I lose them in my inbox and then I forget about those people. So I leave them in my inbox. They don't see that I checked the message. So then my next 20 minutes, what I do is I sit down and I say, okay, I am going to follow up with everyone from yesterday. So I'll go through and I'll look at the conversations and I will just start responding and following up. Now, if at that point, people start having conversations back with me, if I'm done with my follow-ups, then I'll start having conversations back and forth with them. But again, only for 20 minutes. And after 20 minutes, my time is up and I'm done having follow-up conversations and I save the rest till tomorrow. As far as ads, so what I, again, oftentimes do is I'm not always adding every single day, but what I will do is I'll try to sit down once a week and bolus add people, because I don't know about you, but what I would find is I'd look on Facebook, it would tell me suggested friends, and I'd scroll down and I'd look at our mutual friends and I'd be like, no, I don't really think them. And then I'd scroll down some more. And next thing you know, 45 minutes has gone down and I've invited 2 people. So what happens is while I'm scrolling, I'll just say, okay, I'm going to add them. I'm going to add them. I'm going to add them. And then I just literally will invite 10 people, 12 people all at once. Then at the end of the week, I add those people into Teams. If you don't use Teams, you can add them to your list, however you're tracking your business. And so that is honestly how I have found it to be efficient. You just have to sit down. You have to figure out the one thing that you're least likely to do. I know for a lot of people, it's inviting. And for me, I don't invite every single day. I invite when it feels right. You want to push yourself. I say that. For some people, it's never going to feel right to invite. So you don't want to never invite if it doesn't ever feel good. But if, people are going to like your posts about challenge groups, and that's a perfect opportunity to invite. People are going to like your posts about coaching, and that's a perfect opportunity to invite. And sometimes your conversation is just going to be there, and you can say, hey, I'm doing a challenge group, would you be interested in joining? And that is the opportunity for the invite to be there. But I don't set a certain number of invites that I'm going to send every day, because then I feel like it's forced. And then I feel like I'm just inviting people, even if I don't, it's more like a cold invite. And then I think I don't feel good about it. I really want to feel like I'm inviting people who want to do this, who want help, who I know that they can help. And so that's what that is. The other thing with time management is just try and, Jenna said organize. Like, if you saw all the folders and the things I have pinned to my computer and my laptop, you would laugh because it's not organized at all. But no, even if it's chaotic organization, know where you have stuff. And so when I get a free lead from Beachbody, I literally know in my Google Drive where my document is. I copy it and I email it, and it takes me less than 5 minutes. And that's what you need to do. You need to make sure that you're duplicating scripts that we have, files, anything, and making your own Google Drive, or if you don't do Google Drive, whatever you're going to use, that then you can have, so that you can literally copy that, paste it, and send. If you're not, you're going to spend 15 minutes searching through a team page to find an email, for a new customer that someone posted at some time, maybe last year, and it's going to end up taking you 30 minutes to try to just send an email to a new customer. And so that is something that, again, like through trial and error, I have found saves me a ton of time. And so what I generally do is I do these kind of 20-minute segments 5 days a week. Most of the time, you guys, when I nurse my son in the morning, I'm on my phone checking in my challenge groups, checking in with a new coach group. I usually a lot of times can get 3 20-minute breaks at work. I do my power hour in those 3 20-minute breaks. When I come home, I'm rarely on my phone unless people are sending me a text message or I get like a message from a coach I want to respond to. At night, I do my workout. And sometimes I'm off my phone the rest of the night. And then the next morning at 4 a.m, I check in with the challenge group again, first thing in the morning. So don't think you have to be glued to your phone, that you have to respond to messages right away, that you have to, be checking into the challenge group 5 times a day, because you don't. And you're going to end up spending so much time doing stuff when you're not really actually doing stuff. And so that's what works for me now. I know I'm not going to pump forever, and there's no way I'm going to get 3 20-minute breaks when I don't. And so when I don't, I'm going to have to figure out another new way, because now both the boys go to bed a little bit later and I don't like to stay up late. But that's what works for me. So I don't know if that helps at all. I mean, I feel like a lot of this is stuff that we always know. But like I said, I really have to, every time I sit down, I have in my head, what am I going to do? Because it's so easy to get caught up in everything else that's going on that you're not doing that. And I think that's really all I have to say. Does anyone, let me unmute everyone here. I don't know if Sarah's baby is crying. Sarah, I'm not, oh, are you there? I thought your bun on the top of your head was Lana.
Sorry.
Does anyone have any questions? Is your guys' method way different than what I do?
I'm glad you said this stuff about Teamsy and like the customers, because I do have those ones pop up where I'm like, I don't really like want to start a connection with them right now. Like it's, and I'll go on their page and like look for something to like talk to them about, and it's just not there. And I'm always like, well, what should I do? Do I just keep skipping over them? But and that's what I've been doing, but it's just like nice to know that like you feel the same way.
Yeah, that's what I do. You know what because really like males aren't my market. I almost never reach out to males because then I feel like it just gets weird. They're like, oh, why is Bree just messaging me out of the blue, you know? And but I will even start adding their wives as like as Facebook friends. And mostly to people like I went to high school with or someone where we have a lot of mutual friends. But that's kind of, sometimes that's what I'll do when those people come across. I won't talk to them, but I'll look and be like, oh, they're married, they have kids. Like maybe their wives would be into something like this, you know? So yeah. Yeah. And I just can't stress enough that it's so important that you're doing all of this. And it's not, you know, it doesn't have to be, like I said, I don't sit down and find 3 people to add every single day. And maybe that's bad advice. I kind of tend to bolus add people. But when I first started, I probably had about 500 friends. So if you say half of those were males, the other half were females, 250. What I did is I wasn't adding people to my network because I was not a good first beginner coach and I didn't listen. But I was having new conversations. So I was having these new conversations and it was helping. I was hitting Success Club and it was all going good. But what happened is I got to a point where I literally had connected with every single female that I was Facebook friends with, every single one. And then I didn't know what to do because it wasn't over that long of a period of time. You know, if you're connecting to 5 people every day and you only have 250 people, I don't know, I'm not that good at mental math, but it's not that long of a time. So if you haven't talked to someone for 10 years, and you have a little conversation and it's just brief, it's weird then to 3 months later, try to reconnect to them again. Hey, I haven't talked to you in 3 months. How's it going again? You know? And so that's why it's so important that you're doing all of these together, because if you're not adding people, then you're not continuously having new people to have conversations with.
I'm at a point right now where I've added like everybody that I would feel comfortable adding. And then like the suggested friends are people I just like are like friends of people that I already didn't really know. And I finally like started adding this week, but I was at like a standstill for a while. And I'm trying to be like more active and like I'm in a group like moms who breastfeed and work.
Yeah.
I'm like be more active in there and talk to like other PAs and stuff. But I don't know. I don't feel like I have enough time to connect with people in these groups that I just like have no idea who they are.
Yeah, I can relate to that a lot. And I find that that's probably like more of a last resort. But like you said, the amount of time it takes to invest in those groups, again, like to invest in those groups to then get to a point where you feel comfortable adding some of those people to your network can be really time consuming. And so I try to exhaust like any resources I have by mutual friends. And for a while, what I did, like, I don't know, my husband and I were not like super exciting people, you know, like we have our friends we hang out with, but we get invited to things and we don't go because we're busy and our kids go to bed early and I'm doing Beachbody, right? But what I've actually tried to start doing is like trying to go more to things that we get invited to, because then you get, you know, you meet new people that way that you can easily add to your circle too, which has been helpful to not always be like an antisocial person at home like I enjoy being sometimes.
Yeah, they don't have much money.
All right. Any other questions that people have? No? Okay. Was that helpful? Yeah.
I feel like it doesn't matter how many times I hear that fetal behavior is reminded of what I need to do. It's always helpful to hear it again. You know, I mean, that's something we hear all the time, and we know that's what we need to do. And it's a very simple process, but it's sometimes very difficult to put it into action. So it's helpful to hear it from different perspectives often.
Yeah.
Where'd all your fish go?
Brendan.
Sorry. I forgot I'm unmuted. Sorry.
No, you're fine. Yeah, I agree. It's like I said, I have to make myself be so disciplined when I sit down. And what I have found since challenge groups aren't on Facebook anymore, is it's actually a blessing to my business. Because when the Facebook groups, the challenge groups are on Facebook, you're constantly getting those notifications on your phone and through your Facebook groups all the time. And it was so easy to sign into Facebook to check your messages. And what you'd end up doing is just like spending the whole time in in your challenge group or something like that. And so with it being a separate app, I check in once, maybe twice a day. And something else, like Jen and I are co-running a challenge group this month, and we did last month. And if you have a month that it's tough, or you're busy, or you're going to be busy, or you're just kind of feeling a little bit burned out, like you really need to spend less time on this and more time with your family or more time doing something else, then reach out and be bold and ask someone if they want to team up with you, for a challenge group. It's always helpful. I find that it's always helpful to team up with other people in challenge groups, as much as I like running them my own sometimes. Because it's two people commenting on things. If I don't comment and someone else does, then I don't feel that obligation to comment. And then they're oftentimes checking in at a different time than I am. And so I feel like the challengers kind of get a little bit, more like pats on the back without that pressure of me feeling like I have to be this whole person doing that. So that's always an option too. Your free groups, like you don't have to do this business alone, and that's what we're all here for. So feel free to reach out. Like, does anyone want to do a free group with me or this or that? And I wouldn't just throw your people in someone else's group, but as long as you're present and as long as both coaches are present in it, then I feel like that's totally acceptable, and it's a good way to ease up that little bit of time of, you're checking into groups and those types of activities. So, all right. Well, I won't keep you guys much longer. If no one else has any questions about anything. No? All right. Well, have a good night. Oh, we need to take a picture. Okay. Did I read who read? How did we figure out how to take a picture?
We don't know how.
I Googled it. I Googled it after our last group, and then I didn't even remember. It's like an F. It's an F thing. Someone took it.
Sarah knows how, don't you?
No. I don't know how to use the computer that well.
Okay, I'm going to do a sneak attack with my cell phone then. Okay, I got to make that picture.
It is an F thing, though. It's one of the F buttons.
I know. I don't know which one. I think it's Alicia. No, Alicia, I did look, but Alicia I think actually was the one that took it.
I did it on accident before.
What a weird glare. Okay, there's going to be a glare. Okay, say cheese. Okay. Okay, that was good. All right, have a good night.
Bye.
Bye.